Hi, it's Ellen Violette here, and today I'm going to talk about Will Your Idea Fly? My 7-step success assessment guide. And the way this came about was I was just thinking about this. I was thinking, well, when I do projects and they work, what's the difference between when I do projects and they don't work? And I realized that I actually had a formula that I was using, that I was actually going through, that could tell me whether it was actually working or not. And so whether I knew it or not. Oh, hi, Veronica. So I thought, okay, well, that's pretty cool. I've actually got this formula, but I didn't actually realize that I had a formula. So once I knew that I had a formula, then I could create a, oh, hi, Deborah. I could create a little Facebook Live around this. So that's what I wanted to do. So the first thing is passion. Okay, so if I'm not passionate about it, it doesn't tend to stay on the radar for very long. So that's important. And part of the thing with passion is really understanding, is this something that you're really excited about long term, or is it just you got this great idea for like a minute? Is it something that you can sustain? Is it in alignment with your values? Does it move you towards your goals? So when you look at passion, don't go for passion in the moment. Go for passion more longer term passion. What are your passions and how does this fit in? So that's number one. Number two is believing that you can do it. I mean, this is so important. If I see something and it could be a great strategy and I think to myself, oh, I could never do that, I'm not going to move forward and I'm not going to do it. There's no way I'm going to do it. But if I see something and I go, that's really cool, that fits into what I'm doing and I can do that, then there's a good chance that it's going to get on my radar and stay there, and I might actually succeed at it because I feel like I could do it. And I have to say, when I first started, I was so naive. I'd never been in business, and it never occurred to me that there was anything I couldn't do. And so I just jumped in and started doing, and I started, making money really quickly. And I know now there's these whiz kids doing it even faster, but I made a 6-figure income in 2.5 years building a real business. And but then once things changed and funnels came in and I tried a couple of memberships that didn't work, and suddenly it was like, oh, I can't do that. And what I noticed was when I said to myself I can't do that, guess what happened? I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. And it didn't occur to me at the time that if I had the success assessment I could have done it, because I would have thought about the fact, hi Rich, I could have thought about the fact that there were other things that needed to be in alignment in order for me to do it. And if I got those in alignment, that there was a possibility that I could do it. So if you don't believe you can do it, you may dismiss it out of hand, or you may say, I can't do it right now, but let me go through these other steps and see if once I get these other things in place, maybe I will be able to do it. So it's great if, right off the bat, you say to yourself, oh, I can do this. But if right away you think, well, I can't do that, then you really have to look at, well, if I gave it the time and the energy to go a little deeper, could I do this? Or is this so out of my wheelhouse, like I just don't think this way, that I'm not going to do it and it sounds boring to me? Because that's different. If I see something that's exciting to me and I think, okay, well, I could do that if I learn that system, that's different than if I say, oh God, that's all numbers and it's boring and it's, or I'll even try it for a minute and go, oh, this just takes too long, it's too slow, I'm not enjoying this, it's making me tired, forget it, So that's the difference in those. And then 3 is commitment, making that decision. If I say I could do that, now do I want to do it? Okay, am I willing to commit the time, the energy, the money, whatever it's going to take to do that? So commitment is the third and a really important step. And then, and if it's something you can't commit to, or maybe you can't commit to it right now, maybe you want to put it on the back burner, or just, be honest with yourself and say, no, I'm really not committed to that particular thing. I mean, it sounds good, but I'm not really committed to it. And that's really one of the places where people get stuck, because they feel bad because they didn't succeed at something, because they think that they were committed when they really were not committed. And I've done that where I thought I was committed to something and I really wasn't. So I thought it was going to excite me. I thought it was going to be great. It wasn't. Okay, so hi, Matthew. So that's number 3. So we've got passion, believing you can do it, and commitment. Then number 4 is strategy. What's your strategy going to be? Okay, if you say, okay, I'm committed to doing this, now how am I going to do this? So if it's an overall business, you got to figure out, okay, what's my business plan going to be? How am I going to get people there? Who am I trying to target? How am I going to reach them? Just what's the strategy going to be? Okay? And that can be, what systems do I need? What am I going to have to automate? What am I going to have to outsource? What are the things I'm going to do? What are things other people are going to do? And so that, and that'll come up again in a minute in a different part, but that's one of the places where you might talk about that with strategy. And then the next thing is knowledge, specific knowledge. Okay, what do I need to do? Who is that target market? How am I going to reach them? Do they have money? What do I need to learn to implement this? Getting down to how do I do this? And, I realized for myself that there have been times when I bought a product and I got 3/4 or almost there, and then I either got frustrated with it and I didn't take that next step and say, okay, well, I need help with this, so now I'm going to go get help because I got as far as I can on my own. And what that showed me is that I didn't have the commitment to that. But now that I know that, if that were happening now, I would say, okay, well, I was actually committed to doing this, and if I'm committed to doing this, then I need to take the next step, and I need to hire somebody to help me because I'm stuck right here. And so that's what I need to do. And that's exactly what I've done with my podcast. I started doing this podcast because I had a coach who told me it was going to be really easy. And guess what, folks? It has not been easy. It's been a very long process. And I got to the point where I was recording them, the first 5 of them, and it just wasn't coming out good. The sound quality wasn't good. I've recorded them twice, and finally I said, okay. And I was embarrassed to ask for help. I come from the music business. I can do audio editing in my sleep, but I could not get this to sound good. And so what I ended up doing was I actually have a strategic partner. We're putting a program together that includes getting an ebook and a podcast together from the same work. And so I asked him, and I said, would you be willing to just sit down with me and show me, what am I doing wrong? And so he did. And now I just re-recorded one of them, and now I'm, waiting to hear back from the coach to see if I pass the test. But again, it's because I'm committed to doing this. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. When you've got the commitment, and then you've got the strategy, and then you go to the knowledge, and if there's something missing, how are you going to get that missing piece? What are you willing to do to go get it? And you have to be willing to do whatever it takes to get that piece. Okay? And, whether you have money, you don't have money, you have time, you don't have time, whatever the excuse is, you need to get rid of it and go back to, why did you commit to doing this? Did you have the passion? Did you believe you could do it? Did you have the commitment? Did you come up with the strategy? And now the next thing, what knowledge do you need to finish this thing? And then the next thing is focus. Okay, hi Linda. The next thing is focus, and focus means, okay, I'm not going to have 100,000 different distractions. I'm going to focus on this thing that I'm committed to doing. And I know sometimes that is so hard for me. I love to learn. There are times when I could be happy just all day long going on teleseminars and listening to people and learning new stuff. But, a lot of us have that problem because we're lifetime learners, but you can't do that. You have to say, okay, before I can listen to somebody else, I've got to get this done and this done and this done, or I'm only going to listen to, 2 a week, or, whatever it is for you. But you have to focus. You have to get rid of those email distractions and looking at them all the time and messengering. And I had one client who said to me, she's really brilliant. She's so great. And she said to me, oh my God, I suffer from the shiny object, syndrome. And I was like, you've got to stop that. You've got to focus. You're not going to get where you want to go if you don't focus on it. So that's important. Focus, focus, focus. And then finally, action. Okay, you have to implement your plan. Obviously, nothing happens till we take action. So you can go and you can read about things all day long, and you can think about them and all that, but until you actually take action, nothing happens. And I know sometimes people don't take action because they're actually afraid. They're afraid they're going to fail. They're afraid they're going to succeed. I had one woman come to me, and she was dragging her feet on getting her book published. And she said, what happens if, if it takes off? And I said, well, the truth is that you can be in control of this. I mean, if you feel like it's too much attention, you can back off and not market as much, So, don't be afraid of too much success. Just put it out there. And I know I see a lot of times I'll have clients who've written, 3, 4, 5 books and they've never published any of them. They're afraid of rejection, or they don't like marketing, or there's a million different reasons. You've got to have an action plan and you've got to implement it, okay? And here's the thing, people always say, oh, you've got to have an action plan, you've got to implement it. But here's the thing, you can't just say, okay, I'm going to implement it. You have to put systems in place. You have to see what you're going to outsource. What are you going to automate? I mean, those 3 things are super, super important. And when you don't do them, what happens is, and I know because I didn't do them for a long time, and I was making so much money, and I was, going along, and then all of a sudden I had a health crisis, and nothing was automated, and nothing was systematized, and I was definitely outsourcing, but not in a systematic way. So I know that an action plan just doesn't mean, okay, well, I'm committed to this, so I'm just willy-nilly going to start taking actions. It's, again, goes back to the strategy piece. So that's what I'm saying, is you need all 7 pieces, and it needs to be, it needs to make sense, and it needs to go step by step so that you make sure that they're all there. Because if any of those pieces are missing, your idea is not going to fly. So again, you need passion, you need belief that you can do it, you need the commitment, you need a strategy, you need the knowledge, you need to focus on it, and you need an action plan. Okay, and those are the steps that have to happen. And sometimes what will happen is you'll get, oh no, I'm getting a low battery. You'll get into, like I said, you might move forward past commitment into strategy and knowledge, and then start to, lose your commitment. So it's not necessarily linear all the time. Sometimes you kind of have to, go back and forth between the different things. Am I losing focus? Do I need to go back and start focusing more again? Do I need more things in my action plan that aren't happening? So once you go, the first time you go through them in order, but then you may go up and down the scale. So that's really it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this together in a PDF as well, so people can have a success assessment guide. And so if you want that, you can send me an email. You can, well, I guess direct message me, and once I get it up, I'll give you the URL, because I don't have it yet. So I was just thinking about this today. I just put it together today as it came together in my mind, and I hope you find this helpful. So I guess that's it for today. Unless I can see any comments. Oh, hi. Hi. Okay. What? Is Jeff part of me doing this? No, I mean, I'm not, this is not doing anything. I'm just sharing my thoughts about the projects that I do, and when they're successful and when they're not successful. I don't have a program for this or anything. But yeah, I mean, if you're looking to outsource, if that's a part's a problem for you, the automation, the outsourcing, yeah, Jeff definitely does that stuff. And for people who don't know what they're asking me for, I just did a live training with Jeff on outsourcing. So anybody who wants that, again, you're welcome to direct message me, or just say in here that you'd like it. And I can put that in there. Actually, I can't. You'll have to direct message me, because it actually came down. But we're going to see if we can do something with that long term, so people can always get access to it. So we'll see. Hi, Teresa. Yeah. Okay. I don't know what this is. Did Zuckerberg do this at 19? I don't know. I don't know what she's talking about. Any other questions before we go? Anything else anybody wants to ask me? Okay, well, for those of you who don't know, I'm in this 21-day Facebook live challenge, so I've been doing these every day. There's another week to go in these, but once this is done, I would love to know how people feel about, how often you would like to see Facebook Lives, and also if there are any particular topics that you would like to see me talk about. So you can just put them in the comments, and I've got 7 more days of this, and then I'll reassess and see how often I want to keep doing them. So that's it for today. Bye-bye.